All right, what is good? If you are a returning viewer, what's up? If you're a new viewer, what's up? Greetings and salutations. I'm Omar Tao, and today I'm just drawing faces from my Pinterest, right? From my Pinterest face reference board. I did about 6 faces, drew them all in like ballpoint pen, red and blue pen. I really do enjoy sketching and just kind of like drawing out rough stuff in pen. Since pen is permanent, it kind of forces you to kind of have to commit and be a lot more careful with where you place lines. But even if you are careless, you can still get away with certain things. When it comes to like using Pinterest for reference, you have to be careful not to get sucked in to like scrolling on Pinterest for like 15 minutes and you end up not making or drawing anything or creating anything. You just end up consuming. So you have to kind of like get into the app knowing what you're gonna do, right? And what I was gonna do was I was gonna draw faces. Right now, not all of them are like true to the source, right? Some of them I did kind of add some stylization. Some of them I would say that like I would have made some mistakes, or I did make some mistakes. Like the Tibetan girl that was first drawn, I didn't make her forehead big enough. So since her forehead was drawn smaller, it basically kind of made her look like she was older. It didn't make her look like a little girl. It kind of looks like like a 10 or 11-year-old. And then I did add some stylization to the second guy who had like the bandage and the mustache. Just kind of like playing around, right? So I'm not like taking it like super duper seriously. I'm just kind of going, I'm just kind of going. And some drawings, some of the faces I didn't, like this grandma face, I'm assuming she's a grandma. I didn't start with the standard like circle and line guideline that you might have been taught or that you might have seen when it comes to drawing faces, right? Usually the standard is like you draw the circle kind of like for the rough outline for the skull shape or whatever, and then you'll draw like a line, like 2 lines, one vertical line and one horizontal line, which would kind of like represent the center of the face, and it would represent where like the eyes might go, right? But the thing is, it's like you can do that, you can do all of that, right? Even for side angles or 3/4 angle or whatever. But in real life, like we aren't made out of circle and lines. So sometimes you just have to kind of go out of the box basically in this case and just follow along with like what you see on the screen when you're doing your reference. Now, of course, if you're gonna draw freehand without any reference or whatever the case may be, then maybe you might use those guidelines, but it won't be completely necessary because you don't always need to put them. If you're able to follow what you're looking at very well, then you won't really need those guidelines like that. I really only use guidelines for the younger faces, like from the ages of like 10 to like maybe, I don't know, like 40 years old, 50 years old. And then I'll use the guideline if they're like, at a certain body fat percentage, right? If I'm drawing someone who's overweight, then I can't really use the standard circle and line to try and draw it. Like, I can't really use that because it's not going to be accurate. It's not representing because they have so many different, curves and blocks and just a bunch of different other shapes, right? We're not all circle and lines. Some of us are dougals, some of us are boogles, and a bunch of other shapes or whatever type of lines and whatever. So you don't have to follow the standard like circle and line and cross shape and all these straight lines and blah blah blah, right? There's no like perfect circles, there's no straight lines in nature per se. And so you don't have to have your drawing, before you start drawing anything on it, look like a math equation or something like that, or some type of like math graph or whatever the case may be. Just have fun with it, right? Like the last 2 drawings, this older lady and this gentleman right here, I didn't use an outline because their faces were too dynamic to do that, right? And most people in real life have dynamic faces. We have dynamic faces that can't just be made up of straight lines. Now, if you're like drawing like models or whatever, then yeah, you can do that. If you're drawing people with lower body fat, more square jaws, more definition, then you can do all of that. But for the vast majority of people, where like, we're all varying, we all have different head shapes, we all have different looks and styles and different hairstyles and all these things, then we're gonna end up having like kind of like less to not less but more. You're gonna end up having more, right? So if you really want to get a bunch of like range and you want to get really good at drawing people and drawing faces, don't just draw like, standard attractive faces. Go and draw basically like ugly people. Right now, not everybody that I drew on this page is ugly, but go draw unconventionally attractive people, right? There's this great Instagram page called Earth's World or something like that, and they just have like a bunch of photos of people at conventions or whatever, and I think it's like a gold mine for being able to use as reference for someone who wants to draw faces, right? I use their Instagram and their website pretty often, so you should definitely check that out for a good resource. And since they don't have like models or beautiful looking people, they have very unique looking and drastically different looking people, and that's just going to allow you to add a lot of range when it comes to your own artistic abilities. And another thing too is like, you might go on Pinterest and you might search up like unique looking people, but when you think about it, like, what Pinterest is going to show you the most prettiest looking thing or whatever. So they're going to show you someone who looks unique, but they might just have like weird eye shapes, or they might have like vitiligo, they might have freckles, or they might have, weird colored hair. But at the end of the day, they're still like a very like attractive or pretty person, right? So you want to just draw just random people, like I said, using Earth's World, where it's literally just randos. It's like pictures of just random people that you can just use to draw. And then it also just has like a bunch of like lighting schemes and stuff like that, right? When you're looking at like images of models that look, unique or whatever, they have like, maybe flatter lighting. They don't have like this dynamic lighting or whatever the case may be from the outdoors or from inside weirdly lit buildings or whatever. They're kind of just like, focused light, and it doesn't allow for a lot of variation in my opinion. So definitely when it comes to drawing faces, when it comes to drawing people, draw a lot of different types of people, right? Don't just go for like the same like, oval, round, soft edges, or very hard edges or whatever the case may be. There's going to be people who have hard edges on their forehead and soft edges on their chin. There's going to be people who have round edges all over the place. There's going to be people who have no edges at all, because they're like, 25% body fat, and they're going to have a lot more fat deposits in their face and in their nose and in their mouth and whatever the case may be. So definitely like either go out, right, and then find a bunch of different people to draw, and then draw them, discreetly. Or you can ask for their permission, or of course go on Pinterest and search up like Earth's World or whatever the case may be. And that way you can just, get a bunch of range. But yeah, peace out.